Welcome back to the Blue Collar Bench. My name's Thomas. This is Kyle, and we're gonna talk some sports.
Yeah, big big things going on with football. We finally got through the NFL Combine.
Yeah.
Something we've been looking forward to with the end of football. We at least got a little bit of something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Some interesting things going on there. Biggest one being some of the 40 times.
Some of the 40 times. Some records broken with the 40 times out of Texas wide receiver Xavier Worthy, which
crazy to see.
And I actually kind of like it that I know they've been doing it a while, but I do like the fact that they get multiple attempts because it was one of those things that he was 4.27.
Yep.
And so it's a pretty big gap to go from 4.27 down to 4.21.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was originally a 4.22 is what they read it as, and then when they went back to actually time it, he did beat it with the 4.21.
Yeah.
So that was crazy. That was crazy to see, and from a receiver group, DBs, that's where you kind of expect it to come out. The occasional running back, you might get some crazy speed in. DBs had some speed too. You had Nate Wiggins out of Clemson, 4.28 if I remember. He's up there with all the wide receivers pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty fast for a defensive back. And there's in this day and age, I mean, speed kills, and I think that's one benefit that he obviously participating in the combine, unlike some other players out there, but participating definitely bumped his draft stock up a lot. I'm excited to see where that goes.
He was definitely a potential late second round, early third round, and that he might sneak into the first with that. I mean, that's a big jump and a lot to say. I mean, especially with all the receivers out there and the ones that are currently playing in the NFL.
Especially against some of these teams that have to go up against Puka Nacua every year, twice a year.
Yep.
And you got these defenses that are outmatched every year. So
you can't keep up. And
a fresh rookie, who's trying to make a name for himself.
Yeah.
I think it's a good pickup for just about any team out there.
Yeah, and it's definitely. I mean, you get your oddball with like a Tyreek Hill, which. You're not catching that guy, but you might be able to contain him. It's going to be interesting to see how the draft order falls, though.
So then think about that. Tyreek Hill being in the Dolphins, Buffalo needs defense. They were injured a lot last year.
It hurt.
So, that could be something to look out for.
Yeah, and there's a lot of players that can fit into a lot of pieces right now, and he would not be a bad guy to have speed-wise. It's just going to come down to if he can bulk up because he was kind of small. He was kind of small. And a lot of the kids are actually smaller, which I know they always make that transition once they actually get into an NFL program. Yeah. It's a lot more set on what they're doing, and they do add the weight very quickly.
I agree and disagree with that aspect because NFL, the summer training is 100% on you, the off-season training.
Yeah.
I think that's at least something that is coming into fruition a little bit more this past year because there were a lot of players who started out last football season getting injured who weren't conditioned properly because unlike when you played football in school, when you get a scholarship or make a team of an NCAA level, your schedule's planned out. You don't get any decision making from So it might be something that getting into an NFL program could definitely benefit him if he's smart with it, if he, focuses on it with training and weightlifting and conditioning because unlike in college, it's not, I guess you'd say, there's not a coach right there mandating you or forcing you to just show up to these events or to these workouts.
They definitely do have a little more freedom when it comes to like the summer training and workouts, but that's also where a lot of them make their jumps, make their gaps between the other players on the team, and they go from a third string wide receiver to wide receiver one. And I think a lot of these kids are seeing that now. Now that things are more publicized for us to see, you can actually see all these players that, hey, he ran a 4.21, but he wasn't working out, he's not conditioned, and he can only run it twice through an entire game.
That's true.
So
that's true.
It's one of those things, it's how far do you really want to go with this? Do you just want to sign the contract and then just sit, or you want to make something of yourself?
Can we also talk about one of the, I want to say, pointless drills in the combine? The throwing power of the quarterbacks. I mean,
Pointless, yes. You can gauge the power from a quarterback, though, and you got to think about how tight these windows are that they're throwing in. I want to know I got a quarterback that can make that window.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's fair. But, when you got these drills of, I think the Alabama quarterback, Jalen Milroe, might have been, the star of the combine.
62, I think,
yeah,
is what he had.
He's coming out with these throws deep downfield that are right on the money. And if you haven't seen the highlight reel, he's actually waiting for the receiver to get an extra 5 yards before he releases.
Yep.
I think a drill like that shows more accuracy and talent than throwing a ball at a mat. But then again, I don't get money to make those calls, so somebody obviously...
Playing the other side of it, though, yes, he can throw it 65 yards, but can he throw it 25 on the money?
Yeah.
Because if I know I can throw it 65 with full strength every time and not have to put it on the sideline or inside shoulder, it looks great. It looks great when you're doing a test like that. It's phenomenal, and definitely not taking anything from him because he had the throw power and he saw that he can. He can throw it, but you got to look at what can he do short routes, what can he do with the rest of it. Can he place the ball in position? Because if I could throw a ball 60 yards straight to this corner every time, that's fine. But can I throw it 60 under pressure? This and that. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it.
And yeah, I guess that's one thing. I just thought it was very, very odd as a viewer to just watch these all-star quarterbacks that we've seen in college for 3-4 years, just 3-step drop straight into a mat, basically.
Yeah,
and something that was.
I guess they want to see their strength though, because they are. I mean, you gotta look at this day and age as wide receivers. They all have the speed to get 60 yards down the field like that. So
that's true.
Can he get it there? Can he get it there quick? Because we've seen several quarterbacks that they have the power, but they're too slow, or it's not fast enough to get there.
Yeah.
So it's always underthrowing the ball, and that's where you get picks and just easy. I mean, you're just cherry picking down there as a DB or safety. Yeah. So that might be the reason it's a more pronounced drill now, something that they're looking at. Because if I got a quarterback that's throwing 52, and I got a quarterback throwing 62, that's going to make a difference.
That's true. And it definitely was a good thing that McCarthy did throw in the combine, because I think a lot of people did not expect him to have a showing quite like he did.
Yeah.
I think that's going to boost his draft stock as well. I know we've already kind of thrown this tag of game manager on him, but now, based off this performance, he could be a game changer, a playmaker. Who knows?
He could be in relation to what C.J. Stroud did for Houston. He could come to a team and be that guy also.
I'm just curious which team would do that, though.
I mean, there's a lot of teams that could use him, but they don't have the pieces around him. And then there's also teams that could pick him up, and they're ready, but what do they do with the quarterback they have now? Prime example being the Chargers. They have Herbert.
Yeah.
He's fine. But look who their head coach is now.
Their head
look
coach,
who had him before.
their quarterback, yeah.
They're looking at getting another running back. I mean, there's plenty of places he could go, but then there's also plenty of places he can go, and you never really get to utilize him.
Yeah.
I do think him throwing was a big thing. It definitely boosted his draft stock, because a lot of people are going to say it, and a lot of haters of the Michigan Wolverines, he handed the ball off. He handed the ball off. He didn't throw. He did the championship game.
He did.
And he showed he can do it.
And yeah, I think McCarthy definitely showed his maturity level. The fact that he was a quarterback who just played the system. The system was perfect. It was flawless. But he was a quarterback that wasn't forcing throws. He wasn't forcing plays. He wasn't letting his ego get to him. And I think that definitely shows a lot of good qualities that an NFL organization might want, on their team.
In the saying of, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
I mean, he did it well for his years in Michigan.
It's not his fault that he, got recruited by a Big Ten school that happened to also have 2 all-star running backs.
Yeah.
And
anybody would want in the backfield.
Exactly. So you can't really hate McCarthy for playing or doing exactly what his coaches wanted him to do. And actually, you should applaud him, because he wasn't, cocky. He wasn't, trying to put the cameras on him. He wasn't doing anything that was unnecessary.
And he wasn't throwing all the time to where he's used to these throws. But when he did throw, he was putting them where they needed to be.
Yeah.
He wasn't putting in harm's way. So, I mean, it was definitely a good showing for him. Definitely boosted him up. Going on the flip side of that, though.
Yeah, can we please talk about this Caleb Williams just...
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to give my medical. I'm not going to throw. There's so much.
If I was an NFL organization, I don't know if I want to draft him. Yeah, he's a good player. Yeah, he's talented. At the same time, what kind of leader is he going to be in the locker room?
Yeah, are people going to feed off that? Like, he's not doing this and he still got drafted number 1. I'm not going to go run sprints today because I don't have to. I don't think I have. Like, you're going to feed off that energy. And
yeah, I don't want to say it, it's not childish. They aren't, these players get paid lots of money. It's their job. But at the same time, you got linemen who are probably 30s, mid-30s, going to be protecting this 22, 23.
24.
Yeah. So, if I'm a lineman who's been in the league for 10-plus years, and this new kid on the block comes in to my organization and basically stating, I don't feel as if I need to do the extra requirements that my teammates did, I don't know how I would feel. I don't know, kind of throw back to, that longest yard moment where they just let the defenders pass and just tackle them.
Yeah, because if you don't have the trust of your linemen, if they don't trust you, that's the starting point of your play. Look at Dallas. His line, one of the best lines, they love Dak. They protect him.
Yeah.
Now, he puts the ball in harm's way at times. That's on him. But he's protected because they appreciate him. He appreciates them back. It's a family dynamic there.
And that's one thing I saw a couple other analysts mentioning is what we see is Caleb Williams. We see him on camera. He's the one doing the interviews. But he also has his dad and one other family friend who are basically his agents.
Yeah, because he's not wasting the money on an agent.
So, with that being said, we don't follow basketball that much, but is this like one of the Ball brothers where their dad kind of controlled everything and maybe the dad is putting a bad image on the player? That might be the case.
The bad fruit's going to spoil the bunch.
Yeah.
That is his dad saying most of the stuff, or are they just tying it into like sub quotes of Caleb Williams? Is it really him saying it? I hope it's not.
He definitely. He came out and
he made some good points. He made some good points, and I'm not a fan of it. I would never tell my son or my players to do this. But the whole idea of the medical records, I'm not going to give it to all 32 teams. I'm only going to give it to the ones that interview me or have interest in me. I partially
But that's kind of
understand
shooting yourself in the foot because just because you get interviewed doesn't mean you have the job.
No, but if you're not interested, why am I going to give you my time? Why am I going to give you my information? Because maybe later they will after he plays in a year for an NFL team. Say, the Patriots interview him. He gives the stuff. It's just playing that. It kind of leads to a mystery also. Is it going to make more teams? Well, what's on there? Are they going to interview him and then he can sell himself behind doors?
See, and that's the thing is, what happens if come draft day, the Chicago Bears don't pick him number 1 because that he came out and pretty much stated that he's going number 1. He has full intention on going number 1. He doesn't have a plan B of not being number 1. What if on draft day he's not number 1 and then the number 2 team didn't do the interview, didn't get the medical records, might have been interested, but he just killed that opportunity by basically saying, I'm not going to put myself out there as much as this NFL organization wants, because that's one thing, not to compare it to our everyday life, but there's a reason why they call it NFL franchises, because the NFL is the company and the locations are franchises. When you apply to Walmart interviews you, and then you're placed in one location. Yep. So he is, and again, I know the NFL is not everyday life. I know it's not how we work and live. But if we were to go in an interview at any job and basically said, yeah, I don't want to follow everything you're asking of me because I feel as if I don't need to, we're never going to get a call back.
No, but we also don't necessarily have as much value as they may, because Caleb Williams being such a big name, he's gonna make him money, whether they like him or not. Because he may be the player that we haven't had in a long time. Where you get, Tom Brady comes out of nowhere, a 6th rounder, comes in and is like, oh, this guy turned out to be
Or
great.
Brock Purdy.
Or Brock Purdy. Last pick comes out. This guy's great. Well, then you get Caleb Williams. He's going to sell us tickets for a year or two. We're going to have news headlines. We're going to be the talk. Let's move on. But do you take that risk at one?
No, and I don't think that you should. I know that someone will. I know someone's going to. He's going to get top 5 most likely.
Someone could trade out of one. Someone could trade up for one and not even need a running or a quarterback right away, and that could change a lot of things.
And it's one of those things that with him, I'm going to sound old school here, but with him being cocky like he is putting himself into a no-win situation, in my opinion. Or let me put this: he's putting all of his eggs in one basket. If he doesn't get first-round pick, no other team is going to look at him the same because he's not putting himself out there. He's not making himself likable. He's not. His resume is good, but he also has now done some pretty bad, I guess you would say, mistakes. And I don't know.
It's bad publicity in a way, which is, I know they always say there's no such thing, but this one, and just to tie it into the movie realm, the movie Draft Day.
Exactly.
You had Bo Callahan shooing number 1, and he dropped, and he left his table, was freaking out, and all these other people, they're going to watch him.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't go number 1, does he freak out? What does he do? If he's acting this way as a number 1 potential, what's he going to do if he falls to 2, 4, or even out of the 5?
And
is he going to play for that team?
And I know he probably will end up going number 1. I know it's going to happen, or at least top 5. But again, if I was in that room on draft day, I would be making a huge argument of stating, yes, he's talented. Yes, he's a good quarterback. But is he good for my team? Is he good for my locker room? Is he good for the culture? And that's, I think, goes a long way because Johnny Manziel was an athlete. He didn't do well.
Mm-hmm. But he also had an attitude that followed him, and that kept him out of a lot of things.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that, don't get me the wrong way, Kylie Williams is not going to end his career the way Johnny Manziel did.
No.
But you have to think about more than just talent. And who knows? I mean, Chicago Bears might not pick him number 1 because they might still want to stick with Justin Fields. I mean, Fields didn't have a full season.
Yep.
So
he's still good, and they used a 1 on Fields, right? They used a first round on Fields.
Yeah.
So do they do it again? And I think that's sitting in the back of their mind too. We did this, and we're going to get rid of this one. Do we take the number 1?
Yeah.
What do you do? And
yeah.
I would love to be in, but also not want to be a part of.
And that's the thing is like if you're not careful, you're gonna have all these big names and big egos, and we already know how a lot of wide receivers are very public about how they feel the game is played.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure you don't have 2 big egos in the same room. You definitely don't want one throwing or not throwing to another big ego. So it's just one of those things to be careful of. I don't want to make this sound all negative because his fellow players at the Combine did come out and say they really enjoyed playing with him.
They did give him props there as far as a teammate. And I know a lot of it, like we're looking at it as like, oh, this is bad for a team, this is bad for a team. He is selling himself.
He is.
In a different way. So and I think he's trying to show also the confidence he has. And that's a big thing to have as an NFL starting quarterback or an NFL player at all.
Yeah.
If you can have the confidence, if you come in with that confidence, yes, we still want to see what you can do with it. But if you have it, that goes a long way.
Yeah.
So you can also play that side of it. I think some of them have their pro days coming up. I don't know if he's going to do something there, if he's going to throw a little bit, maybe more in the comfort of this is my area.
Yeah.
He might do a little something there. Who knows?
Might. I mean, based on what he said in his interview, he goes, I have 30-plus games. You can watch film. Again, I just
there.
don't like the mentality.
Yeah.
You can go watch film. I'm not going to,
Yeah. He's not wrong in the points. I don't agree how he went about it. But he's not wrong. So it's interesting to see he's doing this now. What's going to happen, in 2-3 years when all these other kids are coming in and they're, not wanting to do this or opting out of things. I mean, even something as simple as Arch Manning opting out of the NCAA game.
And
they have so much power, and I do think a lot of it is with the NIL because they have this money now, and a lot of these draft picks are gonna take a pay cut in their first year. And that could be why Caleb Williams, being the previous Heisman winner, making money. Now he's going to go take a pay cut. That's why he wants to get rid of the rookie contract. Or not him, but his father.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That is another thing that
Yeah.
you can't... I don't care how good of a player you are. You can't just come in to the league that you're not...
You can't change it.
He's demanding the league to change rules for him, and he's not even in the league yet.
Yeah, they haven't given you the job, and you're already like, well, I'm making these changes.
That's like me and you going to McDonald's and saying, hey, you need to pay them more. Yeah. I don't work for you, but you need to pay them more. Like, it doesn't make sense.
No. And, again, you can look back at the NIL. Is this going to cause a ripple effect across the leagues, changing things? Because, yeah, he's essentially demanding, I want part ownership of whatever team drafts me, and I want to get rid of the rookie contract, or the rookie standard, whatever it may be, pay me what I deserve.
And I don't think you can get part ownership of an NFL team as a player.
You can't.
Because there's a reason Brady had to wait.
He had to wait for the Raiders, right?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure any NFL CEO would love to have Brady, like, in the name of ownership when he was still playing.
The Las Vegas Raiders and Tom Brady.
So why not? So now he's coming in, he's saying, you got to pay me more, you got to give me ownership. These rules that are testaments in the NFL world, he just says... don't like those, we're going to change it just for me. Mm-hmm. And, again, it's just...
And he may have a bigger picture when it comes to the other players as well, but he's not stating it that way.
No.
Now, if he was coming out, hey, we all should do this, or we all deserve... A little bit different, we could probably look at him differently, but it's crazy because he's trying to change everything. And they have all this control, I think, because of NIL, and they know what their name is worth, and they're finally getting that. And like I briefly said, Arch Manning opting out of the NCAA game.
Yeah.
Now, he's saying, no, I don't want to be in there because I don't play on a video game. I play on the field. Well, actually, he doesn't do either. He's on the bench. He's the backup for Texas.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
I don't play in a video game. I play on the field. He's on the bench. And he's the third highest NIL earning player right now because of the Manning last name.
Because of the Manning name.
Now, he may be great. He may be a phenomenal quarterback. We haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And to make those decisions, and the thing was, it's not like he was signing his life away. He was signing, put my last name in there. Give me a $600 check and a copy of the game.
Yeah.
Oh, why not? Well, if I'm a backup, I don't want my 62 rating out there.
You know what's going to be good is when he does go to the NFL, if he does, which I know he probably will, he's going to be in that game. I'm pretty sure every one of them has to sign a contract.
Because you sign a contract, you're in it. But the thing is, and it's...
So why not?
Well, he doesn't want to be distracted. Well, now you're going to get more distraction because they're constantly going to ask you in every press interview, every post game, why'd you say no to being in the game? Why'd you opt out?
What do you mean he doesn't want to be distracted? What's going to be distracted? Why am I ranked 88?
No, he's going to be distracted. Man, Thomas really took me, and I'm the backup? Well, yeah, you are. I mean...
It don't make no sense.
It's just your name. Someone's going to come up with a clever way, a loophole around that, because you can't create his name. But they'll make it somehow. He'll be in there.
Yeah, it's going to be Manning with one N instead of two or something. Or
it's going to be Manning of Arches or something. It's something crazy. They'll find their ways.
It's going to be Manning Arch, not Arch Manning. Something like that. So
it's silly. It's crazy because
I'm just ready.
They're kids and we're giving them a lot of control.
I'm just ready for the season to start so we don't have to talk about money and,
I want to still be there because it still flows.
I just want to see games. I want to see them play. But
as far as... Since we're already on it, the money thing. The Buffalo Bills. Talking about needing defense and needing this and needing that.
They're giving up a lot.
Jordan Poyer, I think they got rid of. Tre'Davious White, they got rid of. They got rid of, I think, a guard and two other like solid players off defense. And then I didn't see if this was confirmed or not. Then I believe they came to terms with Mitch Trubisky.
And that we talked about that today. That makes no sense to me at all in any way, shape, or form. But if they are freeing up all this cap space,
because
Buffalo Bills better be on the lookout. Free agency, draft time. Yeah. They're going to be moving a lot of players around.
Well, they were already over the cap space. That's why they initially had to do it.
And and we mentioned defense. They were hurting a lot. I think that is their offense is okay. Their offense is fine. The running back Cook was getting he was starting to get hot at the end of the season. Allen and Diggs, they need to work out whatever drama they have with one another.
I think they fixed it because it was not far after the end of the season. He did say, "I'm staying here."
Yeah.
So they had something worked out. But you also got to think of who they got rid of. They weren't young. Are they going younger now after having Cook there as a running back, having Shakir as a wide receiver? Are they going younger? Are they going to pick up these free agents that are 24 to 27?
Another big name that's still on their roster that might get taken off this offseason? Von Miller.
That's the reason they're stuck in their cap issues right now, because I think it was 40 or 50 million over the cap limit. And if I remember correctly, they just raised everybody's annual cap space.
And Von Miller played less than half of the games this past season.
Yeah.
So that's one name to look out for is to see if they free up. It's a pretty lump sum of cash. Free up all that space with getting rid of him.
And looking at some of the players that did leave, did they cut them and just give them a final check rather than having them retired, give them an option? You don't want to deal with trading them away because you're going to have to buy them out. There's a lot more that goes behind it, and I think at the end of the day it is going to save them, because it's not like they're terrible players or their injuries have set them way back. I mean,
no. Von Miller did. He had some
Von had injuries, yeah.
But
and
I just think they're making moves this offseason. I think it's one of the teams to look out for, see what they do. They're also in the process of building a brand new stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is a business. Maybe that has something to do with it. If those of you haven't saw, they're going to put 2 massive bison statues out front. So, or at least that's the plan.
Buddha for good luck. You come in, you pat the buffalo, whatever their tradition may be. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I mean, we got free agency coming up, I believe, next week.
It's starting up soon.
So that's going to be interesting to see who goes where, see who's throwing out, hanging that dollar in front of them, who's going to bite.
I think there's going to be a lot of change up this year.
One of the big ones free agency wise were players. Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
It's not official yet, but they did come out and say, we are going to cut you at the start of the calendar year.
Yeah.
So he's not. I mean, he can seek trades, but he's not free.
So they basically, Denver said that they're releasing him to meet with other teams, which is big in 2 areas. Number one, it's showing that Denver Broncos is 100% in on Sean Payton, because that was the issue. Wilson Payton dynamic didn't flow.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, just like we're stuck with Deshaun no matter what, Denver's going to be stuck with Wilson no matter what. So wherever he goes, if he gets traded, they will be paying his salary next year and maybe the year after that.
Yeah.
So
the team that trades for him is going to come out ahead at some point, because they're going to get a solid playoff contending quarterback, potential Super Bowl contending quarterback, and not have to pay it. Yeah, that's huge, because you're telling me I can get this quarterback, not pay him, and then go get this DB and receiver? Okay.
Yeah, and especially, it'd be crazy if he went, in division, because he'd be like, wait, you're going to pay him to beat you?
Yeah.
Twice? I mean, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it's happened quite a bit, actually. Not with quarterbacks, but with some big-name players.
I mean, it happened with us when we let Baker go to the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Very next season, we opened up the season with Carolina in Carolina.
Yep.
Now, we ended up winning them off a field goal. This was 2 seasons ago. But still, it was interesting to see. That was when we had Jacoby Brissett.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. And little side news, which I'm sure you've seen, Joe Flacco does want to come back.
Joe Flacco does want to...
He did express, if I play, I do want to be part of the Browns organization. Yeah. That's huge. That's huge to have that guy. And you're not going to pay him much.
And I'm okay with it because...
Get him a blanket for nap time.
Because, we don't have a lot of money. So keeping him on means we don't have to spend money on another backup QB or another rookie QB.
Mm-hmm.
And it means that we can fix some of the other areas like our offensive line that needs some help. Our wide receiver room is getting smaller and smaller.
And you don't have to use a draft pick either this year. So your draft, you're taking an entire pick out, which
which we didn't have anyway.
You did with your deal with Deshaun anyways, but that frees up a pick that you don't have to even look at a quarterback if you keep him with the quarterback room you have.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So
obviously we could talk about football forever with everything going on,
but
even out of season.
We are going to talk about one other thing that came out today. I sent it to you. The Chip Kelly. So shipped into the Ohio State football program. I've been wanting this answer for a long time because it just made zero sense to me.
It's the big why.
Yeah, why did Chip Kelly leave a head coaching job at UCLA to come to Ohio State? Am I thankful that he did? Yes, I do like Chip Kelly as a coach. Am I highly confused as to why he's doing it? I've even started some rumors saying Chip Kelly's going to take Ryan Day's job.
Yeah.
Chip Kelly finally came out, openly stated that, he felt as if he was no longer happy being a head coach. He felt as if he was a CEO of a company, meaning he never got to converse with the players. He was just going from meetings to conferences to interviews to meetings to conferences to interviews. Mm-hmm. And he said he lost his, I guess, love for the game.
Yeah, because he was behind he was behind the doors or in an office, wasn't in the mix of it, and he said his biggest turning point to realize that was prepping for their bowl game.
Yeah,
because the quarterbacks coach, I believe, was the quarterbacks coach that they had at the time at UCLA. He ended up getting a job offer to go be a head coach. So he's like, "Well, all right, let me go be the quarterbacks coach for this game. Get him ready." Mm-hmm. And he found that fire again. He's like, "No, this is what I want to do."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the head coaching job everyone wants. It's prestigious, but he wants to be involved. He wants to be with the players in the rooms because he's not in those meetings.
Yeah.
He checks in like, all right, they're all here, and then leaves. He's not really involved. And he said he's a CEO.
Yeah, and I'm excited about it. I remember when Chip Kelly first, was the head coach at Oregon. We ended up playing Oregon in the Rose Bowl that year, mm-hmm. and I was terrified of playing them. I watched them all year long and said, no one's going to beat that team. That was obviously when he first introduced the fast-paced offense. Mm-hmm. That was when Thomas, I'm going to mess up his first name, running back from Oregon. Anyway, that was when that was when, he pretty much took a very difficult system, simplified it, got a whole group of 40, 50 kids, however many starters, second string, third string substitutes that were coming in. Got them all focused on one goal, one mission, and that was to score as fast as possible.
And they all bought in too. So, and to be able to take that team and do that with any team, that's crazy to have as a coach.
So, and that was his early years of head coaching. Back mm-hmm. when he was still had that interaction, that connection with the team, with the players. Mm-hmm. Obviously, as the years went on, he turned more away from the coaching side, more of the business side. So I'm very excited about this year coming up. I think I like Ryan Day. I like his mentality. I like his attitude towards the game. But he did not need to make play calls as a head coach. He did not.
No, and I do think he learned that, and a lot of teams have actually tried that and saw that it didn't work. Some have done it, and it does work. Some have that mindset for it. Some it's just too much. It's a lot to do.
It is.
I still think your biggest thing is gotta win that one game.
Oh, and that's
that's
why I started a rumor a few months back stating that if Ryan Day did not beat Michigan, Chip Kelly would take his job the very next day.
Yeah, you could lose almost every game and just win that and be better than winning every game and losing that one. That's how big that game is. Especially now that you got Washington and Oregon coming over into the conference.
Well, and especially since we got a lot of big names coming back. We got a lot of names coming in. Speaking, I know we were talking about egos in the quarterback room. We have a lot of big names in our quarterback room. So
the quarterback rooms across the nation right now are pretty stacked.
The spring game's going to be interesting. The summer conditioning and training is going to be interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be our starting quarterback first game of the year, because we're having kids transfer from other schools. We're having kids decommit from one school to come to us straight out of high school. Mm-hmm. We got a lot, and I'm excited.
It's going to be interesting to see, especially with.
And now we finally have a offense coordinator who hopefully will get us on the right track, because
score quick.
We got to score quick. We have a lot of defensive players returning. Jim Knowles is returning as our defense coordinator. This is the year that we make a statement. It has to be. If we don't make a statement this year, it's going to look pretty bad on our organization because we have a lot with how many players we're having returning, how many players are joining us, how much money we're throwing out in NIL and coaching contracts. We'll talk about that in the summer, but we got to do something this year.
On the other hand, on my side, Steve Spurrier is going after our head coach, Billy Napier, because we're not spending enough. We're not using the money we have in Florida, which I'm okay with it. I would rather have a room full of kids that want to play, want to be a Gator, want to be there. I'd rather that. Now, let's go get that 5-star wide receiver running back once or twice. It would be nice.
Yeah.
We might have got to steal a DJ Lagway. Let's see how he goes. The only good thing is a lot of these players playing 3 years. So we don't really have to worry about a red shirt. Let's get them into a few games this year. Especially, I think that second game of the year we play Sanford. Solid
That's
debut.
your only non-conference game this year?
Only non-conference.
No. Only non-Power 5.
Yeah. Only non-Power 5. We play every Power 5 team in Florida, I believe.
Yep.
Miami, Florida State, and UCF. And I'll be honest, not too excited. If we get 4 wins, I'll be happy. And they want the 8 to 10 win season to come back to UF. We're on the right path. We've got a lot of players. We've got some size. I'm excited to see how it goes. It'll be interesting.
And bear with us one more time with the football talk. I saw it earlier this week. Nick Saban came out and basically, kind of told America why he was ready to retire when he did.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes perfect sense. His statement, I don't know the exact verbiage, so I'm going to paraphrase. He basically stated, we lost the Rose Bowl against Michigan. Our players acted poorly. They did not act the way that he trained them to act or coached them to act. Then he stated, right after that, he had players come up to him and asked him, hey, am I guaranteed to play next year? If not, I'm transferring, because the transfer portal is this big.
Yeah.
And if I am playing, how much money am I going to get paid? And so he basically stated, it's no longer coaching. Mm-hmm. It's no longer the game that he fell in love with.
His business management.
And that ultimately is what made,
an
amazing head coach leave.
Yeah. A lot of people came out early and said it was probably with the NIL and not wanting to have to chase these players and, chase price tags. I mean, it's not fun for him, especially with his age. He's done great things that a lot of coaches are probably never even going to get to, but they're going to chase it for years. It's unfortunate to see him go because he was a phenomenal coach. Even when losing, he always had that team that, good job, heads held high, and everything was good.
I am excited, though, because if I'm not mistaken, he did confirm that he's going to join the ESPN Game Day crew.
He is going to join Game Day, and
then
I know he's not young, but Lee Corso's not either, so it's gonna be fun to see those two.
Yeah. And then I saw a post way back when that stated, if there's anybody in America who could come up with a fair way to control transfer portal and NIL chaos,
mm-hmm.
it's going to be Nick Saban. So whether it happens or not, I know, the college football playoff committee was a group of a bunch of former players and coaches and, NCAA team members. I think there needs to be another committee headed by Nick Saban with the associates that, hell, he can hand select the associates.
He could even be somewhere working into commissioner sorts of, and just be like Rory was for the PGA, the last 2 years, several years, be their spokesperson for the NCAA. He's definitely going to be involved. He's definitely going to have his foot in all the doors. He's going to have his ear to the wall. He's definitely going to be involved because he does care about the kids, the ones that are there, that have left and incoming, even though they're not playing for him. He wants what's best for them.
Yeah. And so that was just, it was good to see. Well, it was good to see him come out and tell us why he retired when he did, because I honestly think that had it not be as chaotic as it is now, he probably would still be coaching. He would still be going, but like he said, it's no longer about coaching football anymore, and it's no longer about, these players aren't looking at him for guidance on how to live their life. They're looking at him as how big of a check are you going to sign or
Because they're looking at his name, the names you're drafting. You are getting 4 or 5s. So like, they're just here to collect the bag, and that's it. But,
exactly.
Outside of that, real quick, just small. One of the last things I know we keep saying it. Jason Kelce.
Jason Kelce
officially retired, so that's out there. And I only bring this up because I saw something funny earlier. I meant to send it to you. They said they need a docu-series of Jason Kelce going to each NFL team pregame and seeing how like Buffalo, how they do the pregame and stuff. Let's get a docu-series of Jason Kelce going to party with them and tailgate.
Yep.
And put a Sunday episode up each week. I was like, that would be interesting.
That would be interesting. I think he's definitely the character for it. I think I know we said it before. He is a great personality to have in the NFL. He is someone.
Loves my money.
Yeah, he's someone that made the game that much more interesting. More, can't even think the words right now. He made it to where you as a fan could love the game and appreciate it a little bit more because it's no longer just, why are these guys getting paid millions of dollars to play this game?
He brought you into the reality of it.
Yeah.
I mean, he made you actually feel like, oh, it's just a genuine guy.
Yep.
Like you met him on different levels, and I do think him and his brother, their podcast also did a lot of that. That helped.
Well, he came out basically. Jason Kelce, had the Amazon Prime show, his podcast New Heights, which is great to see. It actually, that podcast alone made me like Travis Kelce a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't say I was a hater for him. I'm one of those guys who want to see another team win, so I just blamed Kelce for Kansas City always winning.
Yeah, you're like, this guy, he's tight end, how's he always open?
Exactly.
You don't get someone else in there, and then they do it again. And
it used to piss me off, because it's just like, okay, Kansas City's got the ball, Mahomes to Kelce.
47 seconds? That's plenty.
Yeah.
That's plenty.
So, again, the New Heights podcast kind of made me realize that, hey, it's not his fault. I mean, he's just doing what he does. And
right place, right time. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting. And I know we talked only a little bit about football this episode, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot more free agency coming up. But let's go into the in-season stuff.
So we had Daytona Supercross.
Another big one. Not quite what we wanted.
No.
But still delivered. It still delivered.
It did. There was still a lot of excitement. It did suck that it was yet another rain event.
Luckily not during the mains or the stuff. It was all the pre-qualifying, that part was nice.
Yeah. It was a good track. I know we showed a bit of it on the last podcast. I'll show one on this one too. But it definitely made it to where, these riders have to focus that much more. I mean, heck, we saw Deegan slip a rut in qualifying and get launched off of a double.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that
landed no better than he could have.
No.
In that, I mean,
yeah,
perfectly on the down ramp, landed in it, and all they said was front tire in this rut, back tire in this rut, and it just kicked him off.
And so, yeah, it just makes it to where, it makes the riders have to think a little bit more, which is one thing that you don't want to do in the middle of a race is overthink. Mm-hmm. It makes the riders a little bit, not a little bit, it makes the riders a lot more uncomfortable because now they can't be, hitting the same rhythm that they want to. And you could see it. I mean, I know Jet, Chase Sexton, and one other rider, it might have been Plessinger.
Plessinger, yeah,
he had a few. On that back straightaway, they were hitting a quad, and then you had Tomac who was trying to come up and catch Jet, and he basically stated, he goes, I wasn't comfortable hitting the quad. I know I could have, but I didn't want to.
Yep.
He goes, and that was the game changer. He said I was faster at anywhere else in the track.
And that's where he caught his difference.
But that one section, Jet was 2 seconds faster every lap, and 2 seconds added up.
Mm-hmm. And over that time, especially in a longer track like that, a longer lap, it definitely gave him that window. And as we saw, once he got that lead, that clean air going through.
Yeah.
Kid's fast.
It is.
Kid is fast.
The kid, and I think Supercross, I don't want to say Supercross has always been dominated by American riders, because obviously that's not the case. But as Supercross being, in America watching it, we just always kind of assumed, hey, there's a reason why Supercross is in our nation because we're the best. Not necessarily. This past weekend, we had a Frenchman win the 250 class, and we had an Australian win the 450 class. And now both of those riders grew up in Europe racing motocross, where it rains every other day.
Yeah. So they're used to it. They fit the elements and are used to it. To where, like you said, you don't want to overthink. They're not overthinking because they're like this. We're in the backyard again. Yeah. We're having fun. It's a good time.
And then Max Anstey's another one. He's another one that really loves he's a European. He loves the wet conditions. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things that here in America I don't race. American racers might not practice in the rain as much, practice in the mud as much, but the racers who have grown up in it from ages 14 to 18 and racing on very fast bikes in very wet and muddy conditions, it shows the kind of gap in experience in that particular aspect. And I know you're not going to get rain every single weekend because a lot of these tracks are also indoors, but it does benefit on weekends like we have here where Jet is able to make a big points jump because Webb and Tomac and Plessinger aren't comfortable. So Jet's going off and getting number one, but then Webb and Tomac and Plessinger, which I don't want to put Tomac, he got a podium, but Webb and Plessinger are now, outside of the top five.
It was crazy because, you could definitely see, and I don't know if we can even find it or just that segment or if we can get it, but that pass that he had on the two, because he was third.
Yeah.
And then he went to first, passed him almost one right after the other.
Oh, yeah.
And then the gap he separated once he got to first, I think he got up to 6 seconds. And for the longest time when he was third, they were all staying within 3 seconds each. Mm-hmm. 6 once he passed, and he was gone. So,
and it's also, and the reason for that is, like you said, it's the clean air. Mm-hmm. It's the muddy, wet conditions because the mud means only one line is getting drug out. You have one rut at every single turn. You can't go high or low. You have to go to that one rut that's been ridden all night long. Mm-hmm. If you try to go high, you're going to slide out. So, if you can it's pretty much just follow the leader until you are the leader, and then now you're
mud
gone.
Flung on you the whole time.
Yeah.
And I know I didn't, being newly into watching it, I didn't understand the severity of these ruts. They put some of the bikes in there, and the base of the bike is in the rut. Mm-hmm. It's crazy, especially on the rain courses. But
try riding one of them, bro.
No. I would love to, but definitely not.
You have to commit. You just go. Yeah. If you get stuck in the middle, it's not fun to get.
I'll ride one if we can get you on ice skates.
I can go ice skates.
Well, single blades. Just don't fall. That's what I feel like. I feel like I would be a newborn deer if I get on a Supercross bike. I'd be a newborn deer just tipping over, just baby falls left and right.
So hockey match coming up soon?
Yeah. No, next video in the hockey ring. We'll do that. But props to Jet. First one to hit 3 wins this season. He's got a 10-point lead going into it, which is it was a season that was separated by just a couple points.
Yeah,
now he's got a little bit of
a cushion. A 3-point lead last week. It's a 10-point lead this week. We've been saying it all year long. It's going to be a race to the finish because we're going to get new winners every single week. The fact that we're going into week number 9 and we only have one racer who's won 3,
and one has 2, and then
in the past few years it was. Well, hell, just last year it was Tomac, Sexton. Those were the winners. But now it's getting a little bit more spread out across the board. It's making it more interesting. It's making these main events and these finishes even that much more important because...
It's making qualifying even that much more important. And even from last year to this year, I think they are racing a lot harder in qualifying because they really want that gate spot.
Yeah.
Because that whole shot's setting the difference. Because you can see the first 5 that get out there, they're there. The rest of them, you're like, oh, well, now I just got to finish the race.
And especially, in Daytona, the whole shot was technically, 2 turns.
There, around, and then across. And it was, so you're like, oh, he got it. No, he didn't. Oh, no, he didn't.
Yeah.
It was changing all the time. So they're definitely racing harder. It's nice to see the competitiveness there and how close it is. I'm excited to see. Got Birmingham this weekend, which we did have to look that up because we were like, where are they racing in Birmingham? Because it's normally in a stadium, something like. I mean, they raced in Daytona on the Daytona 500 infield, and we're sitting here. The USFL Birmingham Stallions.
The Birmingham.
It's their field.
It's the UAB. We looked it up. You got the UAB Blazers, the USFL, the Birmingham Stallions, and then I think it's the Birmingham Football Club. So
Yep. So it's a widely used thing. So there's definitely going to be a crowd out there, which is always good for any event. Track looks great.
It's the first time ever in Birmingham for the sport of Supercross. So I think you're going to have a lot of Roll Tide fans are going to be out there.
You got to think going from Daytona in a race city, race town, and then going to Birmingham.
Bike week.
And then bike week, and then going right to Birmingham. Phenomenal 2-week stretch. Just to tail back to Daytona though. They rushed. They rushed the. I don't know how we forgot. They rushed the track after the winter cross. You can think there's 20 more behind the winner.
Ridiculous planning for the AMA, and thank you all the fans of Daytona who stormed the track because we will never ever be able to get that close to the track again.
No, that'll never happen
because.
Not from that moment.
Like you said, you had the first 3 racers cross the finish line.
Mm-hmm. All within 6-7 seconds. Well, then
all chaos stormed the track
because he won. Well, the finish line wasn't far from where they started storming the track, and someone essentially got ran over.
Yeah, you had people running in, falling in the ruts. You had one girl got laid out by Jason Anderson, and it wasn't his fault. I mean, there's nothing he could do.
Yeah. He's got a heavy bike, him on it, and he's just standing in a single rut that they've been in all night, and she's there and just...
And it's one of those things, I'm sure, it being Daytona and Bike Week had, helped that chaos start because you're going into the track after a weekend of partying. You're already a little buzzed.
Well, you got a weekend of partying. You just had the Daytona 500. You're coming into the Daytona Speedway. You're coming in to watch the race there. And then you got Bike Week right after. They might have had 1 or 2 of these, so who knows what happened.
Yeah.
And then
1 or 2.
Yeah. But then you also had the other side. And we were actually fortunate enough to have a buddy that was down there to witness a lot of this. He didn't rush the track.
Because he also used to race.
Yeah, he understands
outdoor. He understands that if that bike's going, you're not stopping. Whatever's in front of you is getting ran over.
And he was also talking about all the crazy things, which social media is great for this because it shows it. We actually got to see one of them live. When Jet finished, he comes by the stands, and there's 2 grown men ripping at his helmet to take his goggles up. Like 2 grown men. Now, he did say, as soon as they panned away, both those guys got arrested.
Yeah, because they fought over it. And we called it. We said...
Yeah, we're like, they're going to fight over this.
They're going to fight over the goggles.
Yep, and they did. He said they arrested him. There's actually a guy climbing the infield fence at the stands to get over, and his pants had fallen down a little bit, and he got arrested for indecent exposure because he had a plumber's crack out.
So thank you. Yeah. Thank you all the fans who were at Daytona.
Made those memories that we can laugh about and look at.
Never get to experience because we will never get that close to a racetrack again.
And if they do, they're going to have some intense security or barriers there for the next one.
Yeah.
There's no rushing that.
Kind of like the fans storming the Duke basketball game. We're getting the fans storming a Supercross track with bikes that are flying. I don't think whoever was rushing the track knew what they were getting into. Mm-hmm. It's thankfully no one else got hurt other than that one girl that got hit because it could have been really bad.
Well, there were a few that walked in and slipped because they were in their shoes that weren't made for mud. Just to kind of tail off of going from this, tying NASCAR in with it, especially since they were in Daytona, there's rumor that Honda's trying to join NASCAR.
Yes.
And
Yes.
hopefully by 26 they want to make it. And I believe Jeff Gordon, or no?
No, Dale Earnhardt.
Was it Dale Earnhardt?
Dale Earnhardt might be.
I think he's one of the main guys. Jeff Gordon, Dale, they'll probably all be in it.
And
Junior, of course.
I'm actually surprised it's taken this long. Obviously, I know diehard NASCAR fans are probably mad that Toyota ever got into it because it was supposed to be the American race.
Yeah.
But Honda's been a big hit in just about every other racing category. I mean, they're in...
and I think they're tied into so many different things, though. I mean, as far as, Supercross, motocross, all this, you've got all kinds of things. You've got your quads. They've got their money spent well. They've seen what works.
But what's the... oh, crap. The MotoGP, the
Grand Prix?
No, Formula One. They're in Formula One. They're in the Drift Series. They're in the Nationwide Drift Series. So, I think I'm shocked it's taken this long for them to try to get into NASCAR. It's going to be one of those things that, obviously, making a car that can compete and then getting the riders or the drivers to sign or join. They're probably going to have...
They're probably going to bring some Formula One drivers in, or drivers from, Derby, rally cars, things like that, kind of bring in other ones. You also got to think Honda is known for their rough terrain and speed. Now you're going to just a bank. So there's probably a lot that's going to go into a car, a lot of testing, and I think that's why they're looking at, 2026 was what they're aiming for.
It's going to take a while.
It is cool to see for the sport of NASCAR, because even, Supercross, they brought in the Triumph bikes, and who was one of the announcers now, he actually went and test drove one of them on the 250. Carmichael?
Wouldn't have been Carmichael. Probably would have been James Stewart. Carmichael's a little bit older than James Stewart.
Well, I think he just went out by himself just to ride it. I think he just like a slow run just to see how it feels, because he knows bikes.
Yeah.
He was impressed with it. So it is nice to see people kind of getting in. I know last year, I believe Floyd Mayweather bought a NASCAR team and had the money team. But now, just adding in a whole nother race development.
And like I said, if they do make it 2026, it might take a couple years for them to be competitive, because it is a whole new car, it's a whole new organization, and as I mentioned, they're going to have a lot of rookie or less experienced drivers, probably for the first couple years.
And I think a lot of it, they're just going to want to finish the race.
Unless if you might have that one driver that says, hey, Dale Earnhardt's going here, I'm following him.
Yeah, he could go, and I mean, at money talks, they'll go with it if they have it. Does that also open the door for more potential road courses? They're starting to do more of them. I would be interested to see it, because I know a lot of people would always say they're making a left turn 4 times, and they're not bored of it, but it's just repetitive. So adding in a few road courses here and there, which I think is great, and it does test the driver's skills.
And thanks to the Le Mans last year, we know that a NASCAR Cup Series car
can do it.
Model can do it. So,
that was a beautiful car. Sounded great.
I'm excited. Race season's in full swing. And,
it's good. And just to tail off that, Full Swing Season 2 is actually out. So
Full Swing Season 2 is out.
We gotta watch it. We'll be getting into that and seeing our reviews, because I know a lot of it they were actually recording during the Live PGA merger, and they got some live reactions. So I'm curious to see what they let in, what they kept out, and where they're at with it. So that should be good, especially with the season in full swing right now. We just had the Cognizant Classic out, and probably gonna butcher it. Ekro. He ended up winning it.
Yep.
Phenomenal weekend for him. It's great. So you don't have like we had last year, where Max Homa was winning 3 tournaments in a row. John Rahm was winning 3 tournaments in a row.
You know who hasn't won yet? Scotty Scheffler.
He still can't putt, but
number 1 in the world hasn't won a tournament yet. Just saying. And
then you got Rory, who's barely making cuts. You got Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, who aren't really doing anything.
I guess Rory went out. Yeah, he was winning those European tours. I don't know if the ball flies different overseas than over here, but
I mean, there's a little difference to it. But you also got to think where he's from.
Yeah.
So he's used to those courses out there. That's why when it always came to like the Ryder Cup or doing the the Open, because it's not the U.S. Open, it's the Open. He loves that course.
Yeah.
He knows it really well. And he knows these courses too, but these golfers, they're good. I mean, even the younger ones that are coming in, I believe there's a few amateurs in this weekend's tournament, which started today. I believe Shane Lowry was up at the top right now, which that's a name that for the last few weeks he's been at the top and then just can't finish it. So let's see what happens there. Not a crazy start, though.
No, nothing crazy as far as today. And, day of filming's Thursday.
Yeah.
But, have we seen at every weekend so far, you're either Saturday and Sundays are the biggest days because I don't know why Saturday is the days that everyone wants to hit record low scorecards.
They're trying to close that gap and get rid of it, and so that way they can coast into day 4 because they don't want to chase day 4. Yeah. If they can get it there, and then a lot of them, it's weather. I mean, they're down in Florida. They're on their 3-week stretch of Florida right now. They have the Cognizant, they got the Arnold Palmer, and then they got the 50th Players Championship the following weekend. So great golf courses, great golf coming up. Curious to see who pulls this one off this weekend. It's going to be a big thing. Like I said, a few amateurs, and then we got the lovely month coming up after this, and looking forward to the Masters and the major events.
Yep.
So it'll be good. Definitely looking forward to it. Got a phenomenal weekend of golf. Got a phenomenal race coming up in Birmingham for the first time. Obviously got NASCAR.
I don't know where they're at right now. Gotta look it up.
I gotta look that one up. I'm not sure where they're at this weekend.
And then the continuing of spring training and baseball. So that being said, I think that just about wraps it up.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. We've got a lot more coming up. Real quick, we're doing this.
What?
Rory, big statement.
Rory, big statement. What we got?
If I win the green jacket, I could walk away.
Oh, yeah.
He said a green jacket and I could walk away. That's huge. That's huge.
That is. And
because that'd be his 5th major, I believe. And it's the one he wants. And not saying he will, but he would be content to walk away.
Yeah.
From the sport.
And another thing,
in competitive play.
Obviously apples and oranges, but Rory's kind of like Nick Saban. I think he's worried about where the direction of professional golf is going.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's the fact that I don't think he wants to quit playing golf. It's not that he's gotten bored or tired or hates the game of golf. I just don't think he likes where professional golf is right now. Because he came out after his round today, he pretty much made a public statement saying, I don't dislike LIV. I wouldn't join LIV, but I want LIV and PGA players to compete together. So if he does end up winning the green jacket, and if he does end up leaving, it's not because he's tired or worn out or hates golf. It's because
he's gonna put time into the PGA itself and figure out how can we do it, because he did that all last year.
Yeah.
And he suffered because he was so invested in the PGA itself, being the spokesperson, doing this, and this. Oh, and I have to work. Because, we all look at it, they're playing golf. That is their job.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a toll on him because he's just nonstop go, go, go. So if he can somehow pull it off this year, get the green jacket, and kind of step back, but still do what he does, it would be interesting to see, because he is getting up there.
Yeah.
But, we'll leave you with that, and I think we wrapped up a good one there.
Yep. Football's back, baby.
We are ready.
See y'all next week.